bet you can hear me now. That was so funny. I just talked for so long. I just talked for so long. Oh my God. And of course, I talked forever before I actually looked at the chat. Dang it. It's because I had my Bluetooth on because I was listening to some Dog Soldiers like YouTube videos with my headphones on and they're Bluetooth. You guys are cracking me up. Sorry. This is so funny. It says, can't hear you. Can't hear anything, lads. Felicia, your audio. Love. Oh, man. I can't. This is cracking me up. Darling Darkness, she's trying so hard. I was really vocal. Too bad you couldn't hear it. That is hilarious. I was just telling you about my dinner. That was all I was talking about. We only have audio issues at Girly Gore. Basically, I was telling you that I made this incredible fried rice that tasted like the fried rice from like a Japanese steakhouse. And I was just trying to tell you that the key to any fried rice is a little hunk of butter. You gotta put a hunk of butter in it, and it tastes incredible. Oh man, that's so funny. That is like really too funny. You got, oh my God. We were trying to follow it. You're killing me. Man, what's going on with you guys? Yeah. Oh, and I also was saying I took a walk today with Toby and Travis, and it was 60, like 63, 65 degrees outside, and it was so nice. Like we did like wear masks and everything, so it's not like I was breathing a lot of air. But to like have some sun on my skin for the first time in a long time, it was a delight. And Stacy says, a hunk of butter fixes anything. And I will say, that is the truth. That is the truth. Damn, that food was so good. I actually have enough for seconds that I'm going to get a little bit after this. But let's see. We got Jonathan just came in the chat. Happy to see you. Film buffs. If I missed anyone else during my audio freak out, I'm very happy you're here. Today is the end of Werewolf Month on Horror Movie Club, and it's funny because I feel like it was like 2 Octobers ago, in my 31 days of Halloween, I did like a werewolf video, I'm pretty sure, but I think I expressed, or if I didn't, don't look it up and quote me on it, that I expressed that there's a lot of werewolf movies that I haven't seen in terms of like monsters, supernatural monster things. Like there was a lot more werewolf movies I hadn't seen than say like vampire movies or zombie movies or, well, I don't know. But anyways, there was a lot of werewolf movies I had yet to see. And so I really wanted to do a horror movie club dedicated to it so I can catch up on these things. And I got a tweet today that just delighted my little heart. It was from Sky Angel. Sarah, thank you. She said, I must admit, werewolf movies were very low on my list before, but I've loved all the movies we watched this month. Hashtag Horror Movie Club. And that's exactly why I wanted to start a horror movie club, because I feel like obviously there are an infinite amount of horror movies that we will never be able to watch all of them in our lifetimes. But sometimes you can kind of get stuck watching the things that you think you like. And I know I'm guilty of this. And so I wanted to like start this club so it's like every month we can like get a little deeper into something we may not know as much about and explore a subgenre, explore a director, explore something else. And we can all kind of do it together. So like even obviously we will never see all the movies, we can at least like feel like we've had a taste of all of them, and like kind of do it with a community, which is just like, I mean, that's why I do YouTube, is literally the community. The friends. But yeah, so thank you for tweeting that to me today. It made me really happy. And also, I don't even know if I mentioned this whole month, which I find a little silly now that I'm really thinking about it. But my last name is Lobo, which means wolf in Spanish. My dad is from Costa Rica, so I'm half Hispanic, and so I have a lot of wolf things, like this giant wolf. Oh, wrong way. This giant wolf above my bed. I have many wolf T-shirts. I have wolf jewelry. I have literally a little bottle of real wolf hair that I keep by my windowsill, just in case, just a little extra protection. I don't know. And my family even does like howl at the moon on a full moon, just because it's fun and we're weird. But so I do have a very like close feeling or not a close relationship with wolves, but wolves are very close to my heart. And I feel like I had to throw that into this mix because I realized I hadn't really talked about that in any of these other episodes this month. Um, Darling Darkness says, wait, that's your real last name? I thought it was a stage name. No, my real name is Felicia Lobo. Yes. I'm actually named after my great grandmother. But yep, that's that. Um, so let me see. I saw there was some other stuff. Oh, okay. So Batman said something that I'm sure is going to be helpful. Uh, so Batman said, just a heads up for this film, I'm happy to explain, translate terms, etc. I'm from the UK and used to be in the British Army for 7 years, lads and lasses. That I'm sure will be very helpful. If anyone has any specific questions for Batman, put it in the chat. But I'm sure some will come up as we go along. And John Darkness is fine. Like, if you didn't watch the movie this month, or not this month, that would be bad. If you didn't watch the movie this week, it's fine. Yes, there's going to be spoilers, but ideally, even if you didn't watch the movie, you can still come and hang out and just get more excited to check out that movie. It's not a big deal. We don't have time for homework. We don't have time for late assignments, things like that. It's like we're all here doing whatever we feel like it. Mark also in the chat said, I see To Be Hooked Our Girl with some White Claws. Unfortunately, I did have to buy these. Actually, Travis bought them, if I'm being really honest. We bought them on our walk today because we had run out quite a while ago. Okay, so I guess let's kind of hop in here. So Dog Soldiers is a movie I had never seen before. So this was a first time watch for me, which is exciting. But it was written, directed, and edited by Neil Marshall, and I know Neil Marshall because The Descent is one of my favorite freaking horror movies of all time. The more I think about it, the more obsessed with it I get. The more times I see it, the more obsessed with it I get. And I think I'm pretty sure I did a review of The Descent at some point. I don't remember when, but I feel like I definitely did. But it is so freaking amazing. And so this was exciting for me because Dog Soldiers was Neil Marshall's directorial debut. And I'm happy to see it because it's so impressive as a feature debut. So it's like he was clearly going to go on to do exciting things. And other than The Descent, he also directed the new Hellboy, which I did not see. I heard it was not great, but I heard they had a lot of production issues, so I don't know. If anyone has seen the new Hellboy, let us know in the chat. Did you like it? Is it worth watching? And he also directed this movie Doomsday, which I have not seen. Really? I need to see. Well, he's done a lot of TV stuff, it looks like, too. He directed a couple episodes. I'm on his IMDb right now. I don't just know this. He directed a couple episodes of Game of Thrones, of Constantine. He directed an episode of Hannibal, of Westworld. So he's done some TV stuff as well. And the last things he did, he has a movie in post right now called The Reckoning, and he is rumored to be directing Skull Island Blood of the Kong, but that's unclear if that's true or not. But he's got a pretty rocking career going on. whatever this Reckoning movie is, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if there's a plot already out for it or not, but it is a horror movie, so I'm very excited that he's diving back in to do another like full on straight up horror movie. At least that's what it appears to be. But yeah, but Dog Soldiers is the first one. Wow. You guys have already in the chat said the new Hellboy was not good. That's so funny. Because I remember when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, it seems like very like funny and like it looked. I mean, I kind of got excited for it, and then I did that thing which I kind of hate when I do when something gets a lot of bad reviews, and I'm like, I'll check it out later, and then I never do, which I don't really think is like always the best thing to do because sometimes a movie can be great to you and not great to critics. So, but apparently this movie was not great to you guys either. So I don't know. Let's see. um, sorry. Oh, we also have we have Tracy in here too. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any names. As you guys chat up in here. Okay, and Ange is heading to bed. Had a long day of work, so have a good night. Thanks for stopping by for a little bit. So Dog Soldiers, this came out in 2002, and it was a British Luxembourgian production. It's set in Scotland, but they ended up filming it in Luxembourg because it was cheaper, and I think they also got some sort of like government funding as well, so that's cool. And the movie starts out with it's sort of a cold open. Is that what it's called? I should know that. But like something not associated with the rest of the film. But we see a couple going camping. They're having a grand old time. The woman ends up giving the man this like silver letter opener, and it's like, ooh, werewolves. And then they are attacked. And the first attack is actually pretty fun because the girl ends up kind of getting dragged out of the tent. And that was like, I don't know, visually, I thought that whole thing worked really well. And then it's assumed that the guy also gets attacked and killed. So right at the bat, it's like, okay, great. We obviously, we know it's a werewolf movie now, but right off the bat, it's like, okay, horror movie, gore moment, big attack, it's already happening. Yay. And then we move on to the soldiers who are going to be like our people throughout this movie. And on some things I've listened to today, they do talk about the fact that this is like a soldier movie with werewolves versus like a werewolf movie with soldiers. And I will say that definitely is true. Like this is a soldiers versus werewolf movie, but we spend a lot more time with the soldiers doing soldier things. I don't know. And a lot less time with the werewolves. And so when this movie kind of like really got going, to be honest, like I'm not someone that's like a huge fan of war movies. And so I was kind of like, oh no, am I gonna be really bored by this? Like I was kind of not that into it at first, and I was like, oh no. And like I didn't mind the characters or anything like that, but I was just kind of like, I'm not sure. And it kind of took me until we started seeing the werewolves for me to really get into it. And then it took me like till the last, I don't know, the last like 30 minutes or so to be like really stoked about it. And like really, really into it. Like once the werewolves are like full on attacking and we get to really see them, then I was like very much sold on the movie. But it did kind of take me a while. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. I have not reviewed the movie Underwater to Tracy. I have not reviewed that. I haven't even seen it. Yikes. Okay, so for the soldiers that we have, the main soldier we have is Cooper. Cooper is played by Kevin McKidd. A lot of these actors seem to be like UK actors, so I don't know a ton of their work. But then we also have Sergeant Harry G. Wells, which apparently is based off H.G. Wells, who was, I think, Neil's favorite author. I heard that somewhere. probably true. And then we have Emma Cleesby, who plays Megan. We're going to talk about her kind of separately, but and then we have Liam Cunningham playing Captain Ryan. We have Thomas Lockyer playing Captain Bruce Campbell. So Neil Marshall has gone on to say that this movie for him was sort of his Evil Dead. Like he wanted to this his first movie. He wanted to sort of have the impact that Evil Dead did. And I feel like in certain ways he succeeded with that. And even things like how the movie is filmed, sort of the grittiness of the film, things like that, I think were very much inspired by Evil Dead, to the point of having a character named Captain Bruce Campbell. But yeah, so those are sort of the main peeps. Oh, sorry. Sky just says, don't forget Sexy Kevin. Which one is Sexy Kevin? Sorry, this is the other issue I had with the movie. And, not that it's okay. This happens to me sometimes. With this particular movie, The Group of Soldiers, I did have a hard time remembering sort of who was who. And I had a hard time, I didn't have a hard time caring about them. I thought their personalities were really fleshed out. And I thought they, everyone did a really great job. The acting I thought was actually really great. But I did have an issue remembering who was who. And I was like, why is this happening to me? And it's not that they all look the same, because they don't all look the same, but they all look similar enough and are all wearing army uniforms. I was just sometimes I was I can't even remember who this is talking right now. So sorry about that. So I feel like I'm not going to say a lot of names because I'm going to kind of forget who's who. But that's that. And I think Ben earlier in the chat had said about shooting a dog to get into the club or whatever. And that is a note to this very beginning part of the movie. So we have the soldier Cooper. He's running through the forest, and he's being chased by a werewolf. We assume, and then he is attacked and wrestled to the ground, and then Cooper. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm literally have the Wikipedia page up right now because I'm trying to remember. Special Forces unit but fails. Yeah, okay. So Cooper is basically trying to join the Special Forces unit. And the last test or whatever, he's like, okay, I need you to go shoot that dog right now. And he's like, I can't do it. And he's like, why? And it's a fun thing because this movie is called Dog Soldiers, and we do actually have the dog come up later in this movie as well. But he doesn't want to shoot the dog. He's like, I don't have my conscience tells me that that's wrong because the dog is not doing anything bad. And that to me, I was just like, wow, thank you so much for finally not having the dog die in a horror movie. I really appreciate that. But it does end up with him being returned to his unit. So he didn't pass that test. But I was like, you don't need to pass that test. Okay, and so that's sort of the second section of it. And then when the full soldiers come in, it's because they are all doing a training unit exercise thing. So this is supposed to be fake, if you will. So they're supposed to be practicing being in combat. Their guns are not even loaded, things like that. And it's supposed to be against a special air service unit. Don't really know what that means, but I'm saying it. And so at this point, they start to find, they see a group of remains that have clearly been attacked by something very, very gruesome. And with those remains, they find a badly wounded Captain Ryan. So Captain Ryan is the guy that told the other guy to shoot the dog. So Captain Ryan is the guy that's running this special unit thingy, special whatever, what's it called? Special Forces unit. And he's the only survivor of this bad attack, okay? And it's funny because there's something much later on in the movie, which is a big spoiler, which we'll get to when we get to, but I really did not suspect that the entire time, when we first meet him and everything, but exciting. Okay. So some more kills happen. So, one that I really did enjoy was the Bruce Campbell character is impaled by a tree branch, which seemed very also reminiscent of Evil Dead situations. So I thought that was great. And Sergeant Wells, another one of the soldiers, is attacked. And they eventually get to this sort of rural community. They find this. And they find this house, okay? And the house is sort of where we're going to take place the rest of the movie, mostly. And they come into this house, and it seems to have just been like casually left. Like there's still like dinner on the stove. Like it's like, where did the people go? It's a little strange. They don't know who lives there. And they do meet this girl named Megan. And so Megan, once again, played by Emma Cleesby, she claims to be a zoologist who is like trying to study these creatures that are out here. And so, once again, a big spoiler for later, she's a liar. But I really liked her character because I don't know. Well, obviously she's like the only girl in the movie, so like I'm sort of gonna like attach to her no matter what. But then like when we find out sort of her twist in the movie, it's also very exciting. But she literally is the one that tells them that these are werewolves, and she has to kind of like convince them that werewolves exist. And that is also so crazy to me, knowing like the end of the movie. But that's wild. Okay, you guys are. Well, some of you say must resist spoilers, and some of you say spoil away. Oh, Batman says the lads got rescued by an ecologist, not a zoologist. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. Yeah. Oh, I was trying to figure out if that was the same dog at the end. I guess it makes sense that it would be, but I did really like that. Oh, hi, Ellen. Ellen is my friend actually from my hometown who also lives in New York now and has her own YouTube channel. So go check her out. Well, what's up? We're talking about dog soldiers. Okay, where was I? Okay, and so I guess I mean a lot kind of goes down, but I want to kind of skip to like once we finally start seeing the werewolves fully formed. And I really, really love these werewolves, and this is sort of what sold me on the movie because, to be honest, before the werewolves really came, I was pretty bored. I was pretty bored. Like I just felt like I couldn't follow what was going on. I was like, okay, they're running through the woods, they're being attacked, but like I don't know. I just wasn't that into it. And I feel bad because I know so many people love this movie. And then when we finally got to see the werewolves in their full form, they were so beautiful. So Neil Marshall and the special effects people and everyone, what they decided to do was instead of like show a werewolf transformation, because they felt like they couldn't do what had been done already in like The Howling and American Werewolf in London. And so they were like, okay, we're not going to do that, but we're going to like create these like massive, insane looking creatures. And so what they did is they hired dancers, which I love. They hired dancers and they put the dancers in these giant costumes, which you can sort of see to the side of me, and or this way. And they put them on stilts. So these dancers on stilts in these costumes were like apparently like 7.5 feet ish tall. And in the movie, it's like even when they're in the house, it's like they're too big for the house. They're like so majestic. They sort of, I mean, they also kind of remind me of like even though they're very CGI versions of these in like Harry Potter, just like a little bit more like majestic and long looking versus like turning into like an angry low beast, like sort of being like up still on 2 feet, and like somehow like graceful and yet still ferocious, which I think is really 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 cool. And Batman just did just say this in the chat, but everything in this movie Neil Marshall did say that he's like the CGI that was going around at the time in that very early 2000s, late 90s, he thought looked really shitty. And it did. And so he only wanted to do everything practically. So everything was really on camera in this movie. I think the only practical effects were the yellow eyes when we see people turn into werewolves at the end. And I think there was like something else about like they added some like explosion lighting for some gunshots, like things like that. But in terms of like the actual monsters, like they built them, there are actors inside of them, they are doing it all, and that just makes me so freaking happy. I think that is just so cool. Okay, so in like and they're also okay. So I was listening to a podcast today about dog soldiers, and one thing they mentioned is sort of the humor in this film. And I think I talked about this last week with American Werewolf in London, where I was just like, I'm not sure that I'm getting the humor in a lot of ways, because like the British humor of it is just like not the same as like my stupid American humor. And so like I feel like sometimes I'm not like getting when something is supposed to be funny. And I felt maybe similarly during this, but there were moments where I was like, I like that they're being like light and fun with even with the fight sequences. Like one of my favorite moments was with one of the characters like uses like a frying pan to like try to kill a werewolf and is like beating it with a frying pan. And then like as it tries to beat it again, it's like he's like attacked. Like just sort of these moments that are like very like they like take these like very gruesome, gory fight sequences and make them like somehow light and still like fun to watch, versus just like gory and horrific, which I think is nice. Um, okay, so at some point, Megan she starts like feeding them information kind of throughout, but at one point they sort of she talks about how werewolves, if they were trying to take cover, they would go somewhere like dry and warm and all these things. And so they all sort of decide that the werewolves are kind of like hiding in the barn behind the house. And so they use like they have all these like gas canisters, which I don't even know where these came from, but they have all these gas canisters, and they explode the barn. And then Megan's like, okay, there were no werewolves in the barn. By the way, I'm a werewolf. And we get to see Megan sort of have she has sort of like the one like good CGI moment, where she like it like turns into a werewolf, and that was very very fun. And then oh, and then even actually before that, excuse me, we have Captain, right? Yeah, Captain Richard Ryan, who is he basically they find out that his like special forces unit was there to capture a werewolf, which is fun, and made me think of like season 4, I think, of Buffy, with like the government trying to like understand supernatural creatures. But anyways, and basically it was that the government wanted to take the power of werewolves and used it as a weapon. Classic government. And that the soldiers that we have been with this whole time are basically supposed to be the bait to bring out the werewolves. So this like fake mission they were on, that's the actual mission. So that was, a bummer to find out, I'm sure. And so they get really pissed at Captain Ryan. And then Captain Ryan, as you remember, is the only one that survived that first werewolf attack. And his eyes turn that spooky yellow. And we see sort of a behind the table transformation where he like falls down, and then we like see his like werewolf hand pop up, and they keep it very casual. But it's revealed that he's a werewolf. So those are the 2 spoilers I was talking about at the beginning, which is that Captain Ryan is a werewolf, and Megan is a werewolf. And that is fun. So, and also when Megan turns into a werewolf, then like all the werewolves sort of like are there. And as she is transforming, one of the soldiers shoots her in the head. But something I listened to said that she actually didn't die, because we see, and I need to go back and check, like, look for this, but we see like a one-eyed werewolf like in that last sequence. And that's assumed to be Megan, but I actually kind of thought she died, but apparently she did not. That's what the internet told me. Okay. Hold on, I do want to come in the chat for a sec. Are you guys talking about CGI? Okay, cool. Also, hello to Tom. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Boop boop doop. Oh, and so yes. Also, Stacy said, "Don't forget that Wells is also a werewolf." Yes. So Wells and Cooper are sort of like there at the end, and Wells. Wait, is this right? Yeah, and Wells starts to turn into, or he finds out he's a werewolf, or is going to turn into a werewolf, and Wells is the one that cuts the gas line, right? I think that's right. So he's like in front of the stove, and he cuts the gas line, and he basically decides like this is the only way to destroy the werewolves, and also by killing himself. And so then we get like the big house explosion, which is supposedly like killing all of them off. And I thought that was actually like a really nice moment. And that's how, this like last third of the movie like got really good for me. Where I was just like, these like themes of like soldiers and like self-sacrifice, like all of it sort of like came together for me at the end. Like them being soldiers became really important to me at the end, because it sort of felt like they were doing things that like a normal everyday citizen in a werewolf movie maybe couldn't have made those same choices as a trained soldier could. And so in like moments like that where I was like, okay, like it became more important to me that the characters were soldiers, versus at the beginning of the movie where I was just kind of like bored by the concept. Like by the end of it, I felt very like moved by the concept, if that makes sense. Okay. And so at the end, so I thought the movie ended there, and then it sort of has its final moments, where Cooper, he's trying to leave, and Ryan, who is a werewolf, is still alive, and they have a big fight. Cooper stabs Ryan with the letter opener that we saw at the beginning of the movie, and Cooper eventually shoots him in the head. And then, in our last moment where I was just so thrilled, Cooper and the lovely little doggy, who is a border collie named Sam, they come out of the cellar and they walk off together in the woods. So, the one movie where the dog survives. And I really was grateful for that. And so at the very end of this, we sort of see this. It's like in the credits, there's like newspapers, and the newspaper, or wait, is this in the, because I also watched a podcast or watched a YouTube video where they talked about it's like a newspaper with like the some like sports thing was like really big headlines, and then a very like smaller article being like, werewolves ate my platoon, which I think is like very, very funny. And so, and also throughout them, also, to mention, Megan is like taking photographs, towards the end. And like, so we have also these like documented photographs of werewolves, that end up, I guess, in the newspaper, which I thought was a very cool concept. It sort of reminded me of the end of The Howling, where we have a werewolf transformation take place like in a news broadcast where like everyone in the world can see it. Sort of a similar thing where it's like proof of werewolves after the attack coming up, versus a lot of like, I feel like a lot of monster movies, it's like, and no one believed him. So I think that's kind of fun. Sorry, looking in the chat. See what you guys are talking about. I'm trying to scroll up. You guys talk a lot, which brings me so much joy. I don't even need to know. I don't need to know. But yeah, so as I stated at the beginning, the movie for me, last half hour, I was really, really into it. I really, really loved it. First hour or so, I was kind of like a little on the fence, a little bit bored, but by the end, I was like pretty sold. My favorite thing about this movie is definitely the werewolves themselves and just how they're built. There's also a fun werewolf head explosion, by the way. Oh, and Reddy said in the chat, I'm surprised they never made a sequel. There was like apparently a sequel in the works for a long time called, I think it was like Dog Soldiers, like Fresh Meat or like something about meat. I can't remember. That never ended up happening. And then there was even talks about like a TV show, like that was going to be called, oh, dang, I can't remember. There was like talks about a TV show. There was talks about this movie. Oh yes, and Jay Donovan just said this. Talks about the movie becoming a trilogy, and it just didn't happen. But I think that's okay. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked it. I also have thought about doing a video maybe this coming weekend. And I don't know if I'm going to or not, so I probably shouldn't be talking about it. But I might do another video that's just like other werewolf movies to check out that maybe we didn't cover this month if people want to check out some more werewolf movies. I watched the movie The Wildling on Netflix, and I really, really liked it. I just loved everything about it, honestly. There was moments where like things about it weren't perfect, but overall I thought it was such a cool concept for a werewolf movie and was just like very like, I don't know, it felt very real. But I really liked that one, and so I was like, maybe I'll do like a little video at the end of the month just with a couple more werewolf movies in case people want to like see more. But I don't know. Also, if you don't know, next month is horror musicals in Horror Movie Club. I have never been so thrilled in my life. I grew up doing musical theater, and so musicals have a very special place in my heart, and obviously so do horror movies. Someone like commented recently being like, oh, I don't know about horror musicals. And like, I hear you, but that's what Horror Movie Club is for. If you're not sure about it, it's to watch them so you can really form an opinion about it and like see if you like it or not. And I'm very, very excited because there also are so many horror musicals that I haven't seen or haven't even heard of recently, or I guess like last week or something. It was like such funny timing. Rebecca McKendry did a podcast episode on her podcast Nightmare University about horror musicals, and she like named so many, and I was like, I don't even know some of these, but I'm very excited about that. Oh, Batman just said, so what's your favorite death scene in the film? Ooh, good question. First of all, everybody put theirs in the chat. If you have a favorite death scene, a favorite kill, now is the time for Dog Soldiers. Put it in the chat. Let us know what you think. Mine for me, I mean, I think the one that had the biggest impact on me, even though it's not necessarily like a fun kill, or like the two that I thought, okay, one that I thought was like funny was the tree branch through Bruce Campbell, because I thought that was funny. But the one that I think had the most impact on me was literally the explosion of like cutting the gas line and like sacrificing himself and his other soldiers to like kill these werewolves. I just thought there was something about that was like very amazing. But there were some like more fun kills in this movie, so put it in the chat if you know them. Darling Darkness says, we better start off with Rocky Horror Picture Show or I'll get mad. I think we are going to start off with Rocky Horror Picture Show. And in addition to that, I think we're going to also check out the sequel in that same episode, because there is a sequel to Rocky Horror that I've never seen and I don't know anything about. And I just gotta know. And also, there is a very special treat for you guys coming in the Horror Movie Club trailer for horror musicals. I don't want to tell you what it is because it's funny. I won't tell you anything, actually. But it will be posted it'll probably be Sunday's video will be the trailer. So you guys can see then. But I think we are going to start with Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. But in addition to that one, the same episode, I think we're going to talk about the sequel as well. Because I feel like a lot of people have seen Rocky Horror, but I feel like almost no one has seen the sequel, including myself. So I'm thrilled. Mark said frying pan fight scene was the best. I really liked that too. I love that moment. Interesting. Ben said Dog Soldier's Dog Soldier's Legacy was a web series that had an Easter trailer but never came out. Interesting. Be curious to see that. But yeah. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk to you about. I don't think so. Hi, Ollie. Thanks for being here. Also, for those of you that are Patreon people, I will not forget, at 9 o'clock tonight, we are doing our Patreon hangout, so that's coming. I already sent the link, I think, but I'm stoked about it. We're watching a movie that I've heard about for a long time, and I am thrilled to watch it. It's called Lure, L-U-R-E, I'm pretty sure. And it's like a mermaid cannibal movie with like music. I'm very thrilled. I'm very excited. But yeah, I do want to go ahead and go get ready for that because I need to like set up the movie and everything. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being here for Werewolf Month. The last thing before I go, I would love to know in the chat what your favorite movie of the month was. For a reminder, there was Ginger Snaps, The Howling, American Werewolf in London, and now Dog Soldiers. I would love to know in the chat which one you like the best. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Me, I think my favorite is, if I'm being truly honest, my favorite is still Ginger Snaps. That movie is very important to me, and I think about a lot. I love that movie. But in terms of these other ones, I'm going to say, I think An American Werewolf in London. I think that would be my next one for sure. Though I do love everything about the ending of The Howling. So I don't know. Let's see. You guys in the chat have said, John Jarden says Ginger Snaps. Stacey says American Werewolf in London. Sky Angel says Ginger Snaps. Tracy, American Werewolf in London. Mark says The Howling. Ben, American Werewolf. Nice. That's awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to go get everything set up for this Patreon hangout. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of Horror Movie Club. I hope you're all still doing okay in these very strange times. Literally, this being here every week really keeps me going. So thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, also, I have a collab video coming out on, it's either going to be tomorrow or Thursday. Might be Thursday. It's with Carnage Candy. I don't know if I was supposed to tell you that, but it is, and I'm excited. So you guys can look out for that on Wednesday or Thursday. But I will see you in the next video, and have a very nice scream. Goodbye.